this is Jim with Jim's Garage Toys. Today I'm going to be installing a pair of GTR lighting Ultra LED 2.0 headlight bulbs in my 2017 Corolla IM. So these are a little tricky to get in and out just because of the space. So I've had some people say, and ask about tips and whatnot, so I figured I'd just do a video while I was doing this, and maybe it'll make it a little easier for some of you that have never changed the bulbs before. So we will go ahead and get started, and I'll get this positioned and set up. So on the Corolla IM, and I imagine the other Corollas and other cars similar to this, the process will be similar, just things will be a little different as far as accessibility and how you can get to it. On the Corolla IM, the passenger side, the right front headlight bulb is right here. Here's the cover for it. And the windshield wiper fluid reservoir is pretty much in the way. There's no way you can get this in and out. So they've designed this very slick to make it easier to have more access. So there's a little tab right here with a little button in the middle of it. Let's get something small and push on that, and that will push down the middle pin. You'll be able to pull it out, set that aside. That allows you to twist the wiper neck and pull that out from the washer fluid. So now we have a little more access. Shouldn't have to worry about doing this. I've actually done this once before. I have some LED bulbs in it now, and they're terrible. They absolutely suck. They look okay looking at them from the front of the car, but the beam pattern was terrible. The stock halogens were a lot better. So, but with this, pop off the cover, just a little rubber cover there, and then that gives you access to the bulb. The bulb is actually right where my hand is now. So these are 90-12 bulbs, and so with this, unfortunately, I'm 6'2", and I got big hands, so I have a hard time. But you twist it and pull it out. So there's the old bulb. So here's the wiring harness right here that this plugs into, and on the back of it there's a little tab that you push down and pull, and this comes out. So let's take a look at the difference between this one and the Ultra LEDs. Now, these headlight bulbs, I got them through Headlight Revolution, and I did a lot of research on them, and these were rated pretty much the highest I could find. They're not cheap, but they're supposed to be extremely well built, and the beam pattern is supposed to be really, really nice. So you can kind of see the difference in the LEDs. And the trick on these is to get them to make them focus the light output so that it simulates the light from a halogen bulb. So these did not do that. I have high hopes for these new bulbs. So if you'll notice, the 3 tabs are of different sizes. You can't screw it up, it'll only go in one way. So this right here will go in like this. The large one, the large tab, goes on top. So it'll go in like this, and it'll turn, maybe a quarter turn, maybe a little bit less, all the way in. So what I want to do is I'm just going to turn the lights on real quick to make sure that that we have power. There we go. Better to check it while it's sitting there versus having to redo the whole thing. So, okay, now, so let's see if we can get the bulb back in there. Okay, you're kind of doing this blind. I'm gonna stick it in there, and it will go in. So the trick is getting it completely seated properly, and then trying to get you to twist it. Okay. You'll have to kind of finagle it to get your fingers in. I could tell I popped it into the socket, and I was just turning it because it's meant to be stiff. And there it goes. I can feel it shifting. Okay. There. Now, you'll know that you've got it rotated okay too, because the wire coming out of it will be at the bottom point, and I can feel it that it's at the 6 o'clock position. So, and that's good. This one is designed with a cover, so I just put the ballast in there, kind of in the room at the end of it, and put the cover back on like that. There we go. And that one is done. So once you get the bulb, so I've got the bulb on the passenger side back in and the cover on, then to reinstall this is just the opposite of taking it out. So just stick your basically your little straw there for it down into the box. There's a little tab right here that lines up with a slot, and you'll see that. And just drop your neck down into there, get it seated, and then just turn it, quarter turn, and it snaps right in place. Then take this little guy, and what you want to do is just take the middle of the pin, basically, push this back up so it sits up like that. Just put that back into the hole, push down on the top so it snaps back in place, and it's done. All finished. Okay, moving over to the driver's side. Here we have our other bulb ready to go. Nicely packaged. It's a nice stout box, and the padding is nice and dense with it so it doesn't move around in shipping. So same thing on this side. Now mine might look a little different than yours. I do have a DC Sports cold air intake on mine, so but the process is the same. It's a matter of what you, space-wise, what you can achieve. I was going to try to do this without moving the battery, or removing the battery, but sometimes it's easier to do that. So we'll see what happens. So here's my wiring harness on this one. So we can, here's that. I don't know how well you can see it, but here's the tab you just push down on, and then pull the wiring harness apart so it gets over the tab. The hardest thing is just the access, getting your hands in there. It's like, come on. There it goes. So now to turn. It's too bad because there it goes. This I do find that it was a little easier to get my hand around this one to turn it, because it's it's just flat on these 2 points right here. So it's easier to get and twist. So the new ones are a little trickier than that because they're round, as you can see. Okay, I think I have it started. There it goes. There it goes. I just felt it turn. If you kind of push on it a little bit as it's turning, it can help. So now we just need to make this connection. Oh, I forgot to actually plug it in and test it. So hopefully there it clicked. Okay. See if it works okay. Hey, there we go. Okay. Okay. Both bulbs work. So that's good. So now what we need to do is just make sure that they have a nice cutoff and a nice beam pattern. And I'll check that at night. That's kind of the best way to do it. I'm used to how crappy the other ones were. So here is the low beam, and then there's the high beam. And you can even see on the high beam how it's got a nice cutoff at the top of it. So there's low beam again. So very excited to test these out in the evening. And there you have it. So all we have to do to finish up this one, and here's that, let's see if we can get a better picture of this. Here's that connector, and there's a little tab right there that you push down. So I'm going to take these bits and just tuck them in here. That way everything is self-contained inside the housing. Easier said than done with one hand. So anyway, well, I'm going to put that cover back on, and I will be all done with that. And we'll have new headlight bulbs to light the way. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and I hope this helps out some other people trying to change their bulbs in a Corolla IM or something similar.